Hello, Cynthia. It's a pleasure to have you here with me.
And it's a pleasure to be here with you, Jaya.
Thank you, Cynthia. Cynthia, before we get on the topic of the nuts and bolts of having a tech integrated store design, tell me, as the international president of the Retail Design Institute in New York, what interesting trends do you discern in the market? Is there a change in the way brands are looking at the entire store space?
Absolutely. Brands are definitely taking a look at the bigger picture. Obviously, with the newer generations, technology, it's at their fingertips all day, every day. Retail is really having to take a look at how they can integrate that into their stores. And we're seeing it happen in many ways. Of course, COVID forced the issue a little bit of having to invest and improve in technology to allow shoppers to be able to interact, order online, pick up in store, which was already happening before COVID, but obviously had to, jumpstart real quick if they weren't actually doing it when COVID began. One prime example of how I like to look at technology integrating with retail would be Target. Target has done a fabulous job and always invested into the future and into technology. They have a terrific app which you can use from home to browse and order for delivery or pickup in store. But then they also have the app functioning while you're in the store. The product online may be a little cheaper than the product in the store. They have it so that if you're walking through the store and scanning the item into your app, you're getting the online price. Or if you're not scanning it at that point, when you get through the register to check out, they'll scan your app and you'll see the savings there. And you'll also acquire points and a monetary value to use towards your next purchase in the store.
Right. So does it happen, Cynthia, in your interactions that retailers come back and say, but why? Why invest in technology at all? I mean, we have our loyal consumers, there is a store space. So why even bother? Is that a question that you come across?
Absolutely. There are those, especially some of the older brands that have been around. I mean, we have some brands, for example, and I'm not saying they're shirking technology, but a brand like Birth Brothers, for example, that's been around for over 100 years, they tend to try to keep their store design very classic. And loyal to their brand, and technology doesn't necessarily fit in with that look and feel. But I'm sure they're looking at alternative ways to use technology without having it be giant screens located throughout the store, or anything that's going to change the look and feel of the brand. But yeah, I'm sure that brands like that, there can be some hesitancy where they do already have a loyal following. Well, I think it goes into research and looking at how sales improved with brands started to utilize the technology, seeing their trends and whether or not they're trending up or whether or not they're trending down since the addition of the technology. And then I think once you look at the data, it's hard to deny.
Right.
So the data is very important. You have to have a good way to track the usage and track the sales once the technology is coming into place.
Right.
It's very, very interesting times for sure. And, I like to say it's a really exciting time in retail because so much is changing and because so much is changing constantly. And I love watching the change. I love seeing how brands are evolving with the times. If you'll notice, the brands that didn't do well or the brands that were shuttering, worldwide, or ones that weren't really evolving with the time. I think that that's really what brands need to look at is how can we stay true to our brand while evolving at the same time?
One last question, Cynthia. Do you think that because of technology, it's more about experience design rather than the store space design itself today? Or increasingly that will be the way it's going to go?
I think it all ties in. I really do. And I think that the store design itself is always going to be important because that's what brings people in when you're walking by. It's going to be that design. It's going to be what you see inside the store from the window as you're walking by. What is their window display? So all of that will still be very, very important. But the experience once they get in there and the technology once they get in there is going to excite them and make them want to come back for sure.
Right. And that will have a bearing in the way the whole space is also designed and planned, right?
Absolutely.